I'm back from CES where Honda invited me to go ahead and preview for you guys the Zero Saloon as well as a Honda Zero Series SUV. Both of them with radical designs and EVs that come out in a time that's questionable with the political landscape, Honda and Nissan. Luckily, I was also able to attend about an hour and a half or so of a round table Q&A with this executives from Japan for Honda. Well, I took very, very nice notes. It's good that my handwriting's still halfway decent since I hardly ever write anymore. I guess I can thank high school and college for being a good note taker. But today we're going to talk about Honda Nissan's relationship. We're going to talk about their EV models in particular. We'll talk about Sony and Honda mobility. You know, there's just a lot to tackle here. And so, guys, grab your snacks and drinks, buckle in. Let's start with Nissan. This is everyone's still what in the heck is going on now. Before they said anything about Nissan, when they were asked about, hey, how does Nissan play into EVs? How does Nissan play into product stack, etc.? Honda first said, well, we're still in talks. This thing isn't wrapped up. It's 99% probably going to go through, but you still have Foxconn on the other end talking in Renault's ear. Remember Nissan, Renault, Mitsubishi, they're still in this alliance that has been unraveling for years. But Renault still has a bunch of control over Nissan shares. All right. So it might be up to Renault what they do with those extra shares, if they sell them off to Honda, if they sell them to Foxconn. This is a fluid situation. But Nissan doesn't want anything to do with Taiwanese Foxconn. There's one journalist in particular that really kept pushing the issue or pushing the questions with Nissan, which I'm happy for because I really like. I could ask questions too, but I just had lunch and I was just kind of tired, checked out, and ready to just soak in the entertainment. But anyways, the Nissan was that was the hottest topic of this roundtable Q&A. And eventually Honda said, okay, well, again, still in talks, but what we could get out of this is that Nissan has trucks. What could Honda do? How could Honda benefit from Nissan having? Well, Honda doesn't have anything body on frame. So the trucks that come to mind, well, rest in peace Titan. So that's out of the equation. But we have the redesigned Infiniti QX80, Nissan Patrol, and Nissan Armada. This big body on frame kind of Tahoe Honda. Sorry, it would be like Nissan's version of the Expedition or the Chevy Suburban Tahoe situation, right? And of course, you could rebadge that or badge engineer it so you have an Acura version or a Honda version of the Armada. You could also rebadge the Frontier for a new Honda pickup truck. I don't know. Maybe development. I don't know what's going to happen to the Honda Ridgeline. Maybe they've kind of just hit the pause button on the Ridgeline because they have the production capacity Nissan does in the Canton, Mississippi plant where they build the Frontier to produce a lot more. So that's a possibility. It's a possibility, but Honda, they didn't seem too keen on rebadging. They would rather, because they don't want to lose Honda identity. They don't want to lose the Honda-ness or the Acura-ness or whatever that means. But they don't want to just be a Frontier with a Honda badge. That might happen initially, but that's not what they want long-term. What they want long-term is to co-develop trucks, large platform SUVs with Nissan. All right, so we're talking next generation Frontier. You know, the Frontier, yes, it just got a redesign, 2-3 years ago, but it's still an old platform. It still uses old hydraulic steering. It feels like an old pickup truck. That's why I love it so much. It's still my favorite midsize pickup truck, even over the massively improved Tacoma, Colorado, etc. I still like the feel and the big V6 of the Frontier, but it feels old. Now, Honda might want to help develop the next generation platform for body-on-frame vehicles with Nissan. All right, they want to be directly involved with that if it goes through. This big benefit from Nissan is not in trucks. That's not why Honda is interested in Nissan. Honda's been fine without trucks for a long time, right? Well, should I say without body on frame vehicles. The real reason, seemingly, again, this is just what they're telling us. The real reason Honda is interested in Nissan is to split EV development costs. The Osmo AI, the Osmo operating system, rebadged, or just a continuation of the cute robot that we so fondly remember. But the Osmo technology is very expensive. They also would probably like to collaborate not only on the software end, but on solid state batteries. They're both developing solid state batteries, Nissan, Honda. I mean, obviously those two are working together. Mazda's even said they're working on solid state batteries, which is strange to me because they're such a small company, but hey, go Mazda. And then of course, Toyota with solid state batteries. And if Honda and Nissan are going to have rebadges of each other, because I mean Nissan needs Honda's hybrids, right? But the thing is, Honda can't even supply enough hybrids for their own models. What's the issue with factories? That was another a question about Nissan and Honda. Well, Honda wants to keep growing. They need more production capacity. Nissan has plenty of production capacity. Nissan keeps reducing production because of a lack of demand for the Nissan products, from the Rogue to the Altima, etc. So there is production capacity available for Honda to use Nissan's factories. Now, with tariffs, this gets very tricky. Both companies make vehicles in Mexico, and if those are tariffed, well, maybe they move some of that production to North America. The Canton, Mississippi plant produces the Altima, and it produces the Frontier, but there's still a lot of overhead production capacity available. Same thing with the Smyrna, Tennessee plant. There's still production capacity there. So if Honda is going to get tariffed mightily from vehicles coming from Canada or Mexico, this is all just in theory, but this was talked about in the meeting, then they could move production capacity possibly at Nissan in United States specifically to avoid tariffs. But that's like, it's interesting. It's a fluid situation. I could talk about Nissan for hours, but I've only covered this part of the notes so far. So we have a lot more to cover. Because of the tariffs, when we get back to the tariffs, because of the tariffs, Honda might, it sounds like it's paused right now, further development and progress on Honda's new EV plants and production capacities for batteries and electric motors and other things in Canada. All right. Remember about a year ago, Honda says, hey, we're investing all these billions of dollars into Canada to build EVs. Yes, they have the EV hub in Ohio, which I'll detail for you guys at the end of this month. And hopefully we'll keep revisiting this evolving topic of Honda and EVs. But because of tariffs, because of the political instability, not so much in the United States, but combined with the political instability in Canada with Trudeau just announcing that he's stepping down, Honda Canadian expansion for EVs seems to be in flux right now. So they never broke ground to begin with, but it's hard for these companies to do anything with how much the government says what's good and what's not at a particular time. It's just, but you're also screwed if you don't make progress. It's just they're all in really tough positions. Nissan being in a more tough position, I guess, than Honda. One of the questions is like, hey, why go back to Osmo? Why is this Osmo software built in-house? Why didn't you source it out to Google built-in, Google operating system? Why didn't you do, I don't know, isn't there, doesn't Tesla, well, Tesla uses their own, but they also use, is it Unreal Engine, stuff like that. And the simple answer was Honda wanted full control over their own data, and they wanted to obtain their own data the way they want to do it, instead of how maybe Google might want to obtain data. They don't want to share data. They don't want parameters set on how they obtain the data, or maybe how much data, etc. So they just want to be in the driver's seat with the Osmo. Now that has its issues because It's extremely expensive to create your own operating system. That's why essentially Nissan is being brought in. Hey, we're going to invest in Nissan so we can use some of their R&D bucks to chip in. That's pretty much what's going on. So let's move on from Osimo. One of the questions I thought was very interesting. Nissan and Honda both have Dongfeng as a joint venture in China. There's no talks about how Dongfeng could help this transition between Nissan and Honda. And if they did, everything is just, the markets are so segmented at this point that if Dongfeng were to help, it would just be for the Chinese market. Nothing on that end, but it is an interesting thing to talk about. Now, one of the questions was, is the Saloon, the 0 Series Saloon, production ready? The designer, in terms of interior, exterior designer, he kind of danced around the subject, but what I can say is that it's probably very close, very, very close to production ready. I would say it's a 50-50 shot that we get the eyelids on the headlights. I still don't know if there's going to be door handles on the vehicle. I don't know how the doors are going to open for the customer or the owner of the vehicle. But in terms of the silhouette, in terms of the overall design, probably exterior, interior is going to look extremely similar. All right. We saw this small evolution from the original concept to this year's prototype. Side mirrors got to come into effect unless there's unless Musk with his political position can go ahead and start like removing all these old and outdated restrictions that we have on cars, having it be illegal for digital side mirrors, for example. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the overall design, but I'd say it's like 5 to 99%. The designer also said something that resonates with me. When you have a vehicle, especially when you're spending that much money on a vehicle, and again, we don't know how much the Saloon will cost or the SUV will cost. The Saloon's the flagship, so it's going to have a premium. And we know what the Afeela vehicle costs. That starts at $90,000. Is the Saloon going to cost that much? It very well could. So I'm thinking 70, 80 minimum. So when you have a vehicle that costs that much, you want luxury, you want a head-turning design, you want to stand out from the crowd. All right. And so one of the things the designer said is like, hey, you want a vehicle that when you open your garage or look at the vehicle, when you park it, when you look back, something that makes you feel good, something that you're proud of. And I for sure understand that with a lot of vehicles and motorcycles, especially motorcycles being even more heartstringy than cars oftentimes nowadays. So I totally agree with the design, and especially with EVs, since the powertrains on EVs don't have a lot of character, they're just quiet, smooth, powerful. The design has to take an even greater importance, in my opinion, to bond with the vehicle. Also, in terms of who the car is for, well, he wanted it to actually appeal to Gen Z, the Saloon. Well, and probably all the cars. So Gen Z, most of them don't. I'm Gen Y, I'm millennial. Most millennials, Gen Zs, don't have $80,000 or whatever this vehicle is going to cost to drop on a Saloon. I think they wanted it to be so radical that it's going to transcend the generations. Like, yes, the Nissan stuff was very important, but it's so up in the air right now that it's hard to draw any conclusions. But this was one of the most important things for me. Is like, hey, Honda, where's your large platform hybrids? I don't have anything confident to say on it. They said, hey, well, they're in development. How it was being said, I don't know if that means they plan on bringing them to market. They did say that their hybrid technology, it's really easy for them, and their hybrid system's simple enough to adopt it to the large platform engines and architecture. So it doesn't sound like it's hard for Honda to do. They're developing these hybrids for large platform, but there was no further details about what to expect, when it's coming. So I just say keep your fingers crossed. They didn't shoot it down. Seemingly they're working on it. It seems like they're not ready to talk about it. When would they be ready to talk about? That's a great question. The Pilot just got a redesign in the past year or two. No mention of it there. The Odyssey is really long in the tooth. Yes, it just got a refresh, but it's a very minor refresh. The Passport, I mean, it's just V6. And the Ridgeline, well, who knows? Are they going to redesign a unibody of the Ridgeline? Or are they going to just come out with a new truck with Nissan? I don't know. So there's my large hybrid platform speak, and let's keep moving. The Saloon has LiDAR, but they dodged the question of, hey, we didn't see LiDAR on the SUV. Is the SUV going to have LiDAR? It doesn't make sense to me. All right. Honda says they want their vehicles to be level 3 capable. Now, they're not going to be level 3 ready at launch. So it's something that's going to be added into the vehicles over time with their over-the-air update. And maybe the LiDAR is just hidden, or they haven't added it to the SUV, but LiDAR is very expensive. We'll see what happens with LiDAR and if Honda is bent on having it on all their vehicles or just the flagship. Honda and Sony. This was also something they danced around because Honda North America is a completely different entity than Sony Honda Mobility. Completely different companies. They don't talk to each other seemingly. They have completely different advertising and development teams, different market. Like, they're just different companies, even though Honda's name is on both of them. So Honda North America could not speak for Sony Mobility or Sony Honda Mobility. We got Baby Kirk here, and he was not ready to go down for a nap. So let's see if we can finish this up. There is possibility that Honda could use the entertainment benefits that Sony can provide, even though that's and it's almost my theory is that I don't know what the longevity of Honda Sony Mobility is going to be with $100,000 sedans. This is just my take. This is not what Honda said. Honda just says like, hey, we could use their entertainment technology, maybe streaming software in our vehicles. I think Sony Honda Mobility should be creating autonomous driving technology with all those cameras and sensors that Sony's so good at. And they should license it out to other manufacturers. That could generate a ton of revenue for them, bring Sony's expertise into Honda's vehicles. Honda would be better if they could use Sony's technology. Simple as that. We'll see. It's an evolving thing, and they still haven't even launched a car yet. Sony Honda Mobility. That'll be coming out of the Ohio plant, Honda's Ohio plant in 2026. Why is Honda going premium, or is Honda going premium with these expensive EVs? Well, one of the executives said, yes, EVs are inherently expensive right now, and they're working on lowering costs, especially with their batteries that they're developing. Now, these first two models are more upscale. There's no doubt about it, especially the Saloon. The SUV will be significantly less expensive in theory. All right. But Honda's like, we've already told you that this is just the beginning. We are going to have a $30,000 EV over time. All right, let's see if I can bring this up for you guys. There we go. So you can see on the screen, Saloon launches in 2026. Midsize launches in 2026. We don't know about this entry-level SUV. So if it's an entry-level SUV, that means it has to be around $30,000, right? I just reviewed the Equinox EV. That's where that's at. That's a possibility. We still don't know the 3-row large SUV. I would love for it to be the Space Hub Odyssey or the Space Odyssey. That would be amazing for this vehicle to be that amazing minivan that they teased. Compact SUV. So this is what's strange for me is that you have 5 SUVs. 5 SUVs in just Honda's lineup. Then you have Acura, and then you have a Fila. It's like, what's going on here? Now, you got to keep in mind, this is the 2026, 2027. This is first generation Honda EV. Now, Honda, with their new EV platform, they could pivot real quickly. I don't know how long they would keep these vehicles on the market because it just seems like there'd be a ton of overlap here. But in 2028, 2029, they're going to have their gigacasting on another level. They're going to be using the Osmo OS. These vehicles right here at 26, 27, they're not going to be using the Osmo OS. So they're kind of like one step forward instead of 2 steps forward, like we'll see in the second half. So anyways, that's what I have there on a $30,000 EV. It is coming. And I can't wait to see how they differentiate their SUVs because there's just so many. Also, when asked about, so it's kind of going back to the hybrid thing. One was asked about EREV or extended range EV. And plug-in hybrids. Doesn't seem like Honda's working on plug-in hybrids at all. It's very strange to me. Maybe they're just going to bank on Mitsubishi's technology here at this point. They didn't give a straight answer, but it sounded like, hey, we're happy with our hybrids. We're happy with where our EVs are. We'll adjust if the market says. But it doesn't seem like it's a market thing right now. It's just like maybe they just are pausing development on plug-in hybrids. It was no straight answer, but they were asked about EREVs and they couldn't give a straight answer about it. I would say that I feel like it's an unlikely situation that we have Honda plug-in hybrids or EREVs, which to me, that's absolutely where they should be going. In America, EREVs and plug-in hybrids are more practical than battery electric. We'll see what happens. I hope there might be something more positive coming with EREVs, but doesn't sound like it's a priority for Honda. So Baby Kirk and I are going to shut it down. Thank you guys for watching. CES was a blast, and make sure to watch me break down my time with Honda's 0 Series EVs. So stay tuned for more Honda stuff. Oh, by the way, this spring is going to be the Acura ADX. Shortly after that, probably is going to be the Honda Passport Media Drive. Probably going to be a lot of off-roading with the Honda Passport Trail Sport. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I should have more information for you guys hopefully soon. And again, at the end of this month, I'm heading to Honda's EV Hub in Ohio with their new assembly line. It's gonna be awesome. So. All right, AB, say goodbye, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.